And today our expert panelist, female, is the one and only Vanessa Johnston.
Hey, what's up, guys?
That's what's up.
I'm glad I put my glasses on so that I can be a designated expert. I definitely feel way more qualified today.
Glasses make you feel smart. A lot of people don't. I don't need glasses. I wear the glasses so that it adds to the character of me being intelligent.
Right, because you're wearing a bathrobe and you have a hat that says your name on it, and we're like, if there were no glasses, we'd be like, what is he doing? But because you're wearing glasses, we're like, he probably knows something we don't know.
It does complete that. And here's the interesting thing about people always bring up, like, why do you wear your name on your hat? Why do you wear your name on your shirt? Well, George and I were out, and this girl tried to clown me in front of her friends because her friends were cool. And then she was like, why are you wearing your name on your hat and your shirt? And I was like, bitch, you're wearing Armani. You do realize that's just someone else's name. Like, you're literally just wearing someone else's name.
Tehran with the slams.
Well, it's real. And then she was like, bitches. And everyone was on it. And George was like,
I thought you were going to talk about how I introduce myself as Tehran now. So if I get rejected, it's like him getting rejected.
Oh, that's the newest George. That's the newest George.
As the designated female expert today, I'm going to say that you probably shouldn't have said, bitch, you wearing Armani or whatever you said. I don't know.
That was offensive.
Yeah, I think so.
I meant to be offensive, though. So it's one thing when you say things and you don't know what you're doing. Like, even with, let's say, racism. I'm not really mad at people who are racist and know they're being racist. It's the people that don't know they're being racist and are still being racist. I'm way more mad at them. Like, I take way more offense to them.
But to be clear, you're opposed to racism.
I don't know if I'm as opposed to racism as people think. They want me to be, and I'm not as opposed to it as I should be.
Now, people don't even know what racism is. Like, people just scream racist. I got called a racist last night.
Yeah, but you're racist, so it's...
I mean, but I own it. I have so much black cum in me. Okay. Yeah, last night I was on... This guy from India was DMing me on Instagram and was saying all these things, and he was really nice. And
what was he saying?
He was like, you're so pretty, I want to have friendship with you. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever, you know what I mean? And he's like, we were talking, and he's like, coffee, ? And I was like, well, where do you live? And he said, India. And I was like, oh my God, dude, I love yoga and naan bread. And another random Indian dude DM me. He's like, I'm going to let the racism slip because you're cute. And I was like, how is that racist? Like,
it's a racist because it was your perfect chance to say chai. Let's drink chai.
Well, actually, no, it was racist. But
it's not racist.
On a scale of 1 to 10, it wasn't KKK racist. It was I'm funny, so I made the connection racist. Like, people... We're going to have to let these things slide.
But, okay, here's the thing. The definition of racism is discriminating or looking down on another race, right? So by saying I like yoga and naan bread, I'm not discriminating people who are Indian, and I'm not saying that I'm better than Indian people. So by definition, it's not racism.
Well, let me correct that concept, because if I say Asians are good at math, that's not specifically putting them down. However, it is a form of racist commentary. So while being good at math is something that's viewed as in light, when you say that it's because of this, now you're being racist.
Now both of you are comics. Because you're comics, you get a pass.
Look, and tell that to everyone else.
You know what? And here's the thing, and I'll say, because a lot of times comedians get in trouble for things like that. Like Roseanne recently got in trouble for writing an offensive tweet, and you had even Kramer at the Laugh Factory. That was a huge deal 10 years ago. I
saw that video recently, and it was shocking.
It was shocking. The concept is Kramer was a little much, but it's not just that you were racist. You just weren't funny. And that's your biggest crime. Oh. You weren't funny. No one's getting mad.
So then it just sounds
worried
tasteless.
About Bill Burr. Yes.
It's tasteless.
Exactly. And so if you're funny and you actually say something that's funny and creative and smart, most people will let it pass. Now, you'll always get extremes, whether it's extreme left or extreme right or whatever it is. There's always going to be an extreme. But that concept of be funny, be creative. If you're going to say something, don't do the occasional hacky joke and then worry why people aren't happy with your joke. You know? And it's all of us.
Comedy 101 from Toronto.
That's how it works. But let's hear some Vanessa 101 from us. We're going to ask you some either or questions. Okay. Right?
And the either or questions, all right, they're going to let us get to know you a little better.
Okay.
And you have to pick either
details.
or. You have to pick
there's
either
nothing
or.
in the
There's
middle.
nothing in between.
I love George's camera work. Every 2 seconds, he flips the camera. He's like back, forth, back.
That was a criticism that Tehran gave me, but I just like the speaker to be seen.
Can you imagine if he filmed porn? Like it would just be, he's like, oh, I'm about to come, and then it just flips back to his face. Fuck. No. Yeah. Okay.
That was good.
And or.
That's funny. Okay, either or.
Okay.
Either or.
Yes.
Okay. Since we started with porn, we'll start with porn. Well, either or,
I'm so
girl
wet.
on girl porn or guy on guy porn.
Wow, that's hard because I'm bisexual. So I'm going to say probably girl on girl for me.
Okay, strong.
It depends. If the guys, okay, this is the caveat. If the guys are straight, then the guy on guy porn. But if it's just like two homo dudes just going at it, I don't really care. But if it's like two straight dudes exploring their sexuality,
I don't know if there's gay sex between two
sign me
straight
up.
dudes. I think that disqualifies them.
if it's two straight guys having sex?
Yeah, and I actually have a really interesting story about that I'll tell you after we get through the either or.
Off air?
It's so good. No, I'll tell you on air, but it's either or.
It may or may not have to do with Marcella. Would you rather date a comedian or an actor?
Oh, comedian. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with being an actor, but I love comedians.
Why?
I think that on average comics are smarter and than actors. That's stereotyping. See? Also, to go back to your Chinese math comment, that's not racism, that's stereotyping. I think people are blending stereotyping versus racism.
No. Stereotyping is an umbrella under racism.
Is it? Okay.
So the concept of it's kind of like saying this is slander and libelous when they're all part of the same umbrella of what is being done. Mm-hmm. It's the concept. Yes, stereotyping, racism, bigotry, everything falls. It's a Venn diagram of what happens.
Well, I feel like as the white person on the panel, I can't argue with Tehran too much.
But you can. You'd just be wrong. Okay,
So comedians.
So wearing a dress or wearing jeans?
Oh, jeans. Yeah, I don't do dress. Dresses make me feel like I'm being raped by the weather. Yeah, like a wind comes by kind of strong. You're like, oh man, me too. You know what I mean? Next question.
Really quick. All right. Gifts or gift cards?
Yeah. Gifts, because gift cards I'm gonna lose, and I also gift cards are like the most annoying thing because then you have to like figure out the amount. You know the gift cards when it's like you don't know, it doesn't say on, like Starbucks is like $5 on the card, but then if it's like something to Nordstrom's, you have to go and be like, how much is on my gift card? And then you have to buy.
Yeah.
And there's like $2.79, and you can't fucking use it.
Reclaiming my time. I want to restate the question: cash or gifts?
Okay, cash. For sure.
But would you think
That
that
puts an
if
end
someone
to
gave
it.
you cash, like if a significant other gave you cash, would you think that that's an acceptable gift?
Well, it definitely would feel kind of like hoary to me. Like if my well, it depends. Like if it was a dude that I just started hanging out with and was like, here's $700, go enjoy yourself. It'd be like, is this transactional? By the way, like what warranted this amount of money? Here's the thing. I am super picky about things, and every dude I've ever dated has always said they feel so insecure giving me gifts because they feel like they're going to mess it up. So I feel like out of the kindness of my heart, I probably should just accept cash and make them feel okay, you know?
But so what makes a good gift in your mind? So if you're getting a good gift, is it because you want the person to know you, get you something that you actually need or find useful or utilize? Because that's one thing that bothers me about gifts. George likes the action of affection and giving gifts.
What sign
He
are
actually
you?
likes any gift, and he's like, this is so sweet.
I like the sentimental value. I once had a woman made me a candle.
Yes.
And I thought it was just so meaningful, and I appreciated it. I loved the way it smelled. I loved the way it looked. And more importantly, I felt like because she made it, she put her energy into that candle and was sharing an intimate part of herself with me.
And then you burned it while having sex with another woman, and it was like a kind of a weird threesome. Okay.
No. Lightning fast. She is lightning fast, people.
Okay. Would you prefer a hoodie or a sweater?
Well, it depends on what's going on. Right?
No, either or. Hoodies or sweaters?
I mean, I would say probably overall. Recently, it would be sweaters because I'm trying to be more like fashionable and less home. Like, you know, your fashion's bad when male comics are making fun of your clothing. Ooh. You know what I mean?
Oh, that must mean your fashion's terrible, because that's what I can say. As the actor of the group, you picked the comedian. But as an actor, our swag is a little up on comedian. Besides Tehran.
Depends on who the actor is. Depends on who the actor is.
You're the only swaggy comedian. You and Matt Rife only because he looks great with those tees in his
Matt
body.
Has been working out. That's a nice compliment to give another male with a Matt.
George is like, I really like the way his biceps glisten in the sun.
They glisten.
That's exactly what I observed. This one's very important to me. Road trips or flights?
Road trips.
Road trips. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Am I giving unstereotypical answers for a female?
There's no stereotypical.
Not at all.
We actually want to get a perspective to get to know you better. So I feel like these questions have a psychological component to get to know you just a little more. And like we're getting to this thing where
I'll tell you why road trips, because so I would be nervous to go on a flight with a guy, and you know when you go through security and you have to take your stuff off? Like you have to take your shoes off and your wallet, and like
I wear a bathrobe, so no.
Okay.
I'm ready. I do that for this.
Do you ever get, you get through security?
No, what this guy does, we got through security once, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Black and Persian, and you didn't check me." And I'm like, "Come on, Tehran, I'm Middle Eastern, bro. We don't need this right now. I need to get on the plane."
Hilarious. So if I was with a guy and he was taking his clothes off or his belt and stuff off in an awkward way and putting it in the bin and like couldn't put the bin through the thing, I would probably not be able to have sex with him anymore. So I feel like...
Oh my gosh.
No, that's a real thing.
That was something that happened to me. My first time in Los Angeles, I was traveling and I met this nice woman, and she told me, "Yeah, you're probably not good in bed." And I said, "Oh my gosh, how do you know?" She's like, "You're clumsy."
Yeah, dude. If you can't like get you're like fumbling, putting your shoes on.
I struggle with that.
Super unattractive.
But I have a size 14 shoe.
Someone humble brag. So little things can actually turn someone off to things that you do, especially because we think as guys, only when girls do little things can it turn us off. But guys can do things that totally turn the girl off.
Well, yeah, and I think especially if you're a comic, because you see every little fucking thing, right? Don't you? Like probably see every little, probably things that never kind of come in.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because comics are like OCD social observers.
We observe. That's actually a great point. I observe a lot of things and make comments on it. And
that probably no one else sees.
Yeah, I left the barber and Tehran's like, your hair looks like a werewolf. And I'm like, dude, can I live? I'm enjoying my fade right now, bro. Look at this fade, yo.
It was a good phase. If you had a celebrity crush, who would it be?
Oh, no. Okay. Well,
Sweetest face ever. Go.
There's a comic I have a really big crush on right now who just kind of like started. Well, he's like, he's not really, he's like kind of famous.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yes, Ellen. I saw her on Comedians in Cars and Getting Coffee talking about her wife and how she's so unhappy. And I was like, oh, you're going to be available real soon.
That's hilarious.
She was like trying to convince Jerry Seinfeld. She's like, marriage is awful, right? Marriage is awful. Like she looks so strong.
Does that make us Eskimo brothers? Because I have a crush on Ellen.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Is that your type?
Totally.
Interesting.
She's my type too. Rich. I love that shit. Oprah. So who's your celebrity crush?
Okay, so if it's not that person, I guess like Elon Musk.
And we want to know why. What makes him your celebrity
Dude, it's
crush?
Elon Musk.
He's
basically
science.
Bruce Wayne.
Yes, basically I love rockets and science. I don't really like his cars. They feel kind of cold and stoic, but he's so sexy. I like stalk his Instagram. Oh my God. Oh, my boyfriend, I just broke up like 2 weeks ago. So all these, yeah, I'm so sad.
So all these comics are going in your DM all of a sudden?
No. Everyone's afraid to make him mad because he's a really big booker.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just, I'm trying for the first time to have a healthy breakup, like by not hooking up with anyone, not really going on dates. So I haven't had sex in a month. What's up, internet?
That's why you're entertaining these guys from India. Coffee?
Yeah,
question mark?
Exactly.
You're like yoga and naan.
I'm like, yeah, sign me up. Tikka masala. Holla at your girl. Okay. So yeah, like I haven't had sex in a month, and I made the mistake of I'm on Raya. Do you know what that is? It's like Tinder for
wealthy people.
For like, I guess like, yeah, like famous. So I matched with like half of the NFL right now, and like I have like 7 boyfriends in Toronto. They all play hockey. They're my exit strategy in case America goes shitty.
Smart.
So, but I'm just kind of like, I have all these people, but I'm just trying to like not date anybody until maybe 2019. Ugh.
Why did you guys break up?
Okay. Okay. First of all, he has great dick, right? Like amazing dick, so good. But he plays Pokemon Go every day, and he's still playing it all the time. It's a problem.
No way, you're joking,
So you
right?
broke
Is that
up
a joke?
No, it's actually. Well, I'm turning it into material. It's been like the last 4 days. I have 10 minutes of Pokemon Go material, but no, he actually plays it every day.
And that's what bothered you?
Well, he just wouldn't really work, and so. Here's the thing. He's a great guy, and we're friends. And this guy's your sound guy's smiling. He's like, Pokemon Go. Yeah, keep going.
That's right. Hecto 1 is on sound. Martin of film.
What?
I'm just giving out a shout out on what's going on. Yeah.
No, he would just like, we would be about to have sex, and he would just get up and be like, there's a Pikachu in 15 minutes on Sunset Boulevard. I'll be right back. And I was like, what, dude?
You're joking.
No, I'm serious. And I would get kind of mad. And then, yeah, like part of me started thinking maybe he was like cheating on me.
No,
you know?
hold on.
Like part of me hoped that he was.
Pokemon Go ended your almost marriage.
Like that was one thing.
Pokemon Go.
He didn't have a car. Like,
but you didn't care about that. You cared about the Pokemon Go.
Because here's the thing. It's like he's 35 and we were talking about getting married, and I'm like, dude, if you don't have a car and like you spend all of your day just playing games and you don't want to have a job, like how are you going to have a family? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
but
you
if
can't
he had
support
a
a family.
car, he'd be crashing like everyone else playing Pokemon Go. So you can't.
Well, he had a car,
So
but he
is it
borrowed
because he
it.
didn't have a car? Simply because I know a lot of guys in New York, for example, and in LA, a lot of people just Uber.
He had a car that he was borrowing from his friend for 3 years. So it's just like his whole life wasn't
when you
together.
borrow something for 3 years, it's called theft.
And like,
Kind of like my gold chains.
Oh my gosh.
oh shit, are those Terrans?
I totally.
No,
but I
they're
admit to
his.
stealing them from him. Not only did I
Okay.
steal the
he owns
chains
it.
from him, I owned it. I also took an Instagram picture, followed Choco the Chico, of my dog wearing the chains, and that infuriated him.
Do you want to know something that's even funnier? He didn't just steal them from me like, oh, hey, can I borrow these? Literally, after I purchased them at the jewelry store, he was like, yo, let me try these on. And then he just kept
Walked
them.
out.
And then he literally just kept them. And he tried them on inside the jewelry store. So basically, I was paying for them as he just... I basically got you a Valentine's
this
Day
ain't
gift.
Takashi. Try and take my chains, bro.
See what happens.
And he's
I'm gonna have to
wearing it in
kidnap
front
you
of
and
you
get rid
right
of
now.
But it's just interesting because there's this new trend for the man child, I feel, especially in places like LA, where I see grown men doing things that we would technically do, or at least my father would look at and be like, that's very childish.
Oh, 100%. I'm doing Ontario Improv tonight, and I'm doing like 10 minutes of material about that I'm working out, because I don't know. And like well, you know him, like obviously, but we were together for 3 years, and I, for 3 years sat, and because we had a lot of really positive things, and then I just sat in the back waiting for him. I was in love with his potential. And I was like, all right, waiting for it to be realized. And then I realized that you can't date someone's potential. So, yeah. And then sort of the last straw was like, we broke up in October, and he moved in with another girl. And I didn't really think about it, but we did it for 6 months after that point. And my friend, who's a comic who is like really famous, you would know, but he's my really good friend. And he was like, where's he living? And I was like, oh, he's living at this girl's place. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, have you met her? And I was like, no. He's like, have you been to his place? And I was like, no. And he's like, are you fucking serious right now? And I was like, yeah, dude. And he's like, you are so dumb. And I was like, oh.
You're not.
Then I was like,
you're not actually. It depends. Look, the living situations in LA and New York, especially when you're in the entertainment business, is very different. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I know comedians that became super famous that if you asked them a year ago, they were not only sleeping on friends' couches and now they're making $500,000 plus, or they are 4 guys to a place, or like, even when I came here, I lived in my cousin's apartment because things are rent control. And then when she was gone, then I just stayed in that apartment. Like and then I got the apartment.
It's a true story. I even got surgery on the couch of that apartment.
Well, my friend's point was like, dude, he's probably dating this girl.
But that's not necessarily the concept.
Yeah.
The concept is it's the blurry line, especially in the entertainment business.
Yeah, but I've never been to his place and I've never met the girl.
Sure, because he's in a precarious living situation. So he's in this living situation simply because I know who we're speaking on. It's not that I have inside information on where he lives. I have no idea. But I know for a fact there are people that have these precarious situations where it's so temporary that you don't want anything to upset the balance, meaning you don't want to bring people over. Even if he lived with another guy and they just decided, hey, no one's coming over.
Well, to be fair, he offered for me to come over, but I told him I didn't want to because I didn't want to find another thing to be disappointed in. So
wow,
yeah,
wow.
That's some real shit. I live by myself, and I have a place and I have cars, and I understand that standpoint. But don't you want to take into account the character of the person? Like, do I believe in him? When you said something so real. I fell in love with his potential and not with him. Like, I had hope in his potential, and
but then when you concluded it, you said you can't no longer fall in love with potential or his potential.
Well, because here's the thing. It's not fair for me. It's not fair for him. This is what I realized. It's not fair for him for me to be like, this is who you need to be. You know what I mean? Like, he was okay with his life. Like, that was a life he wanted. Like, he didn't want to be the kind of person that, like, had houses and, like, hustled and, like, had, like, a big career. He kind of just wanted to, like, live life simple, easy. Like, you make just enough money to get by. And that's the kind of life he wanted to live. You know what I mean? And I saw that he could be, like, so much more. Like, I would set him up with, like, because my background's in TV development. I worked at HBO for a while and other production companies. And so I set him up for, like, with EP deals, like, where he's making, like, $10,000 a month just to go in 1 day a week, and he wasn't even showing up because he's like, I don't really feel like.
Yo, I have a lot of potential, and I would take that offer, so we gotta talk after the show.
So
yeah,
real,
so stuff like that where, like, he was like, I don't feel like going in this week. I'm like, you just have to go in 1 day a week and just come up with show ideas, and you're getting paid $2,500 a week. So stuff like that where it's like he just didn't really want to make that extra thing. So it's not fair for me to be mad at him, be like, you have to be more. You can't play Pokemon Go. You have to go, like, work if you didn't want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Then I realized instead of trying to make you something that I want, you need to live your life and you need to be who you want to be. And I need to find someone that is already what I want, you know? Because what would make me mad is I would work all fucking day. Like, when I was on the show called Kill Tony, and I would wake up, I had to start up, I'd get up at 5 a.m. We were launching in Japan. I was raising money. I would be up from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. working on my startup. And then at 9 a.m., I would go to my development job, work a full-time job, get off work at 7 p.m., go do 3 open mics, to work out my minute for Kill Tony every single day. I'd get home at 1 a.m. And that was my life for a year. And he didn't have a job. And I would come home and he would be like too tired to do stuff. And I'm like, I'm working all fucking day long. You don't do anything.
I love that life, that hustle life.
Yeah, well, because you're like that kind of person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Love that hustle life.
So, like, it's not that one type of person's better than the other. They're just different. You know, so like if you were with someone who like was, you know, kind of didn't really want to do stuff, it was kind of like chill, there was going to be incongruencies in your relationship. And it's not fair for you to try to make that person the way you want to live. And it's not fair for them to try to make you live the way they want to live. You know?
I always say, fall in love with the person, not the concept of a person.
100%.
That's real.
This is GK, and these are my words of the week.
So
Yeah, I'm sorry if this came out like
No,
mean,
it's
because
exactly
it's so
what,
fresh.
I know,
it's hard for me to
it's
talk
something
about.
real, and that's what we try to do. We get very real and try to talk about things that people usually don't want to talk about because it's uncomfortable for men and women to discuss, and so it's interesting. We do have a little popping or stopping question, which is basically a trend.
Yeah, it's a trend going on right now, and it's where you give the female opinion to let us guys know if we should do this or not. It's popping or stopping. Tehran saw it outside the club this weekend. He's going to explain it to you and me because I still don't
Saw a
get
guy
it.
wearing a midriff t-shirt. So it was a t-shirt that really just, his belly was
Well, he was probably gay.
out. He was not gay
How do you know?
because I know the guy.
You know him
He's
like
trendy.
personally?
He's a trendy guy. He's not gay.
He's fucking gay, right, dude?
I mean, but is that something that it should be popping or stopping?
Crop tops for dudes?
Crop tops for dudes.
I don't know. Internet, what do you think? Internet live? No, dude. Unless you're gay, then if you're a dude, because I see the guys in West Hollywood wearing like the cute little like crop top booty short outfit, and I think they look cute doing it. I'm like, you go be you, queen. You know what I mean? But if you're a straight dude and you're showing more midriff than me, that's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
So we got it here. Stopping.
Stop it.
Stopping on that.
Although if I ever get an 8-pack, I'm wearing one.
All right. We have a quick question from our listener before we actually get to our topic, which our topic this week is, of course, the allegations. And when I say allegations, I'm specifically referring to sexual harassment or anything of that nature. And are allegations enough where we actually should hear from a female expert on being a female on what we really should be thinking? Now, we have a question from our listeners, and our listeners send in questions. You can always email us at
imperfectgshow@gmail.com.
and we love hearing from you. So our question this week is from
Sarah. Sarah writes, "Hey guys, my name is Sarah and I love your show. Me and my girls watch it every week. I tried to get my boyfriend to listen, but he never does. Shame on you, boyfriend. From what I know, my boyfriend is an avid porn watcher. I caught him watching porn last night instead of coming in the room to have sex with me. Should I feel rejected? And is porn considered cheating?"
Okay, well, porn's not cheating at all. But, I mean, I definitely would be concerned if he's choosing porn over you, just like I was concerned my boyfriend was choosing Pokemon Go over me.
Harsh.
This feels very relatable. Sarah, I feel your pain, right? Her name's Sarah. No, I mean, it's not cheating. I definitely think that guys sometimes watch too much porn. I think as an exercise as a guy, if you're in a relationship for 1 month, don't masturbate. And the only time you can come is when you're with your girlfriend. And just see how different your sex is.
That's actually a really poignant exercise. And Russell Brand actually had a whole thing about how he didn't realize he had become addicted to porn and that all he could do was have that type of sex or enjoy porn and not his female companions. I don't know if he said girlfriends, but Russell Brand. I'm going to go with female companions. And he started abstaining from porn and said that his sex life became so much better, that his relationships and his communication with his partner is so much better. And he actually enjoyed sex way more.
Yeah, because you're shifting it. Because my boyfriend, he's Catholic, and so on Lent, that was one of the things he would give up was masturbating, and our sex during that month was like so much better.
I don't think that's how Lent works. I don't think you give up masturbating until you just have more sex.
Well, he gives up masturbating, alcohol, and like sugar or something, and so during that month, our sex is always so much better, and it's like he wanted it so much more because he wasn't masturbating, and so
it's not considered cheating, but should Sarah feel rejected by the fact that he does watch porn and he wants on this occasion turned down sex with her?
I think like if I was in that situation, I would ask, hey, why are you, is there something that you want to change? Like, why are you choosing it over me? I would just ask, why do you feel like you want to watch porn over have sex with me?
Well,
like,
I'm going to give you my guy perspective on it. And it's because sometimes we can just X out of porn and I can't X out of you. Like, I don't feel like cuddling, talking, listening to your day, I just
Those are
sometimes
the
I just
best
don't
parts
feel
of
like
sex.
those are the worst parts of everything. Like I just don't want to hear. Like sometimes I just want to, and then move on with my life. Right? Because no one, look, if you want to know if a guy likes cuddling or any of that stuff, sure, if we really like you, we do because we like being close to you. But the truth is, you've never seen a guy come and then just keep watching the porn. Once it's done, we actually feel ashamed or like, why did I ever do this? Sex isn't even good. I'm disgusted with myself as a human being.
Afterwards.
I don't know why I need to have sex. And that's how we feel sometimes when we have sex with you guys. Like we're so over you. Why don't you just disappear?
Oh, come on. Well, that's a little harsh, but I will
Is
say...
it?
I will say I do sense the guilt. I was raised in church, and one time there's an incident where I forgot to X, like Tehran said. My mother saw the browser and told my Sunday school teacher about what she saw. And I feel, I've carried this into adulthood, I feel ashamed to be a sexual being.
Are you serious?
It's a thing. He's very serious. They talked about in the Sunday school.
Sometimes I masturbate and I don't want to have sex just because I want. It's like because sex and masturbation are like two different functions. Like when you masturbate, you're just like trying to get a physical release, and then it's just like a thing. You're like, I want to get it done. You know what I mean? As opposed to like having sex, it's like a whole.
And there's emoting involved in sex, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to
work
be.
sometimes. Like.
Yeah, it's like a whole production.
Yeah, and I have to like make sure that you're good. I have to make sure I'm good. I don't want to give weak dick. Like it's like so much effort. Like sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I'm good. I have 8 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? You said something very poignant. I love that word. I think you said it first.
Why does he get to say it first?
That you don't want to feel the pressure of having to satisfy someone. So I think sometimes for guys, because my ex would say this to me, that he was just tired. We don't know why he's tired, but because he wasn't doing anything. But
he does a lot, by the way.
He was tired. He's a good guy. I'm just being me. I hope he doesn't listen to this. But he's a good guy, and I still love him as like a human.
Well, he does not listen to this, I know for a fact, because he's Sarah's new boyfriend. That's a roommate.
That's his roommate. He would he plays like basketball, and like he would be tired. And I know that he sometimes felt like he didn't want to disappoint me.
Interesting fact, by the way, my ACL meniscus tear, his team is the one who did this to me.
Listen, never talk to them again. If I see him.
During the championship, we get to the championship every year. They finally got there, and within the first 10 minutes, I get fouled.
Your man hurt my man.
And we call it, it's his team. His
my
team
friend.
Is the one in the thing. You said my man. We're gonna move on from that. Let's go into the meat of the show. Our topic today is sexual allegations, and are allegations enough? Now, in the recent light of so many sexual harassment allegations coming out, and people losing their jobs and livelihood, we've seen what happens to people. From Cosby to now the CEO of CBS, a sexual allegation seems to be enough to ruin a person's career, especially with guys. And a lot of guys are acting very bitter about this. How do you feel, and what is your take?
Are we friends on Facebook? Did you see my post this week?
No, we are friends on Facebook, but I did not see your post.
Oh, okay, because I posted on this week. So it's so funny you ask, because my background's in development. Like I did it for 5 years. That was my 9-to-5 job when I started stand up. And so it's interesting because when the Me Too movement happened in the fall, because I feel like I understand guys very well, probably more so than women, because I was really close to my father and kind of raised by him. And so right when it happened and all these girls were like, why don't you speak out? Why don't you do this? I was like, dude, I know it's important, but the way we're going about it is going to make it harder for us, not easier. And they're like, no, it's not true. Like, you're a coward. And I was like, all right, whatever, dude, do your thing. So recently I've been interviewing for development jobs again, and I send my resume in. My resume is very extensive. I have a lot of experience. I'm on the phone. I do phone interviews. It goes great. And then I show up in person.
And you're too attractive to hire.
And I can't get a job. I can't get a job.
Is it because of what Tehran just said?
Because I'm a sexual harassment case waiting to happen.
Some guys, they feel like a guy's going to hit on her. An exec is going to hit on you.
And here's what I was worried about. When the voices started speaking up, the purpose of them speaking up was to put an end to this. And now what you're saying is inadvertently it's now causing people more issues for speaking up, or just the environment that was created that now people speak up. So, I'm male employer and now I'm scared to hire a woman?
An attractive
insane.
woman. An attractive woman.
That's insane.
You say that, but how many people do you know who are afraid to hire an attractive female secretary or an assistant because their significant other will get upset at them?
You know, here's what I did, which is pretty interesting. When I ran my set for Black Coffee Show, what I did is I hired a counterpart up top. Of course, it was a qualified counterpart, but it was a female. And I thought that dynamic of having both up at the top, it really transcended down to the cast and helped a lot with communication. Sometimes you need both. So the fact that people are saying, let's push this out is literally insane to me.
Well, but I mean, I understand. And it's not even guys that are rejected, it's women. Because even in HR, you're like, oh, you know, there's going to be a guy somewhere around here that could cause a problem.
So it's the women that are coming higher. Even the women are looking
even
like,
the women are like,
so why not throw these guys out who they think are susceptible?
100%. And that's the interesting thing, is because one of the big arguments that I get on Facebook is when I tell guys, stop being bitter, be better. You don't have to sexually harass a girl. You really just don't have to. Guess what? You just don't hit on her. Let's put it like that. We just don't. You just don't have to hit on every single girl that you find attractive.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because like I was actually thinking about writing a book about it, like Pretty Problems, about attractive women in the workforce. And I was reading all these articles this past week just about how attractive women tend to get fired like 40% more than regular people because once they, especially when you get to a higher level executive position, guys almost get like more mad that you're becoming successful. Like, how can she do this? Like they think you're sleeping your way to the top even if you're not, and if they know you're not, they get even more mad.
I'm glad you came in today. I was not aware of this, and I wasn't aware of it because I simply don't think like that. And to hear that there are men who actually think like this and systems in place is heartbreaking to me.
No, we knew there's a lot of guys that think like this. We just want to not be the guys that act or think like that. So we are aware that there are a lot of guys who think this way. We see it in comedy. I always see it when I see these all male lineups. And even if people are so fighting for, well, how come there are no black people on this lineup? Well, there's also just no women on this lineup, and there are definitely no women of color on this lineup. And I notice these things all the time. And it's often hard to fight certain battles because then if you fight the battle, now you become a target as well. And that's the saddest thing, is that you had to, for example, curtail your experience because you're afraid we're going about it the wrong way. There's going to be a backlash, instead of, wow, why don't people just get it? Sexual harassment is very much like racism. So I've never understood when people don't believe sexual harassment happens. The same guy that believes in racism is a hidden agenda that suppresses and systematically disenfranchises and oppresses people of color, don't realize that sexual harassment is the exact same thing, except a male agenda in which they suppress and oppress women, especially attractive women, for that reason.
Well, you know, it's interesting. And when I was reading these articles, I realized that there's a double effect of like, even the women who make it into the workforce, like I see it in comedy, right? Because of the sort of stigma against women, the women who do become successful almost become stigmatized as well towards women. So like, perfect example in comedy, name a famous female headliner that takes women on the road, except for Nikki Glaser. Not a single one.
Not as many.
No, I don't know a single female, because I sat there, I was like, I see all these and it makes me mad. And like, as a female headliner, like if you're Amy Schumer or whatever, and you're bitching about feminism every fucking week, and you don't take a woman on the road, you only take guys, like that, you can't bitch about feminism. In my mind, I'm like, you only take dudes on the road. You don't even take women. And I realized it's because, and I thought, I put myself in that situation. I was like, if I was a female headlining comic, I wanted to take a guy on the road too. And I was like, why is that? And I was like, you know what? It's because I feel guilty that my audience has to sit through two women.
Whoa.
Well, it's also not just guilty. And let me express this as well. Because you don't want someone that conflicts with your audience. So I'll give you an example. And this is insider tidbit when it comes to show business. It is show business. Something that happens is I'm a Kevin Hart. I'm not taking another Kevin Hart with me on the road because the concept is it builds up to me. I'm not going to have someone that's funnier than me on the road or someone that takes away from my demographic necessarily. So a lot of people start thinking I'm going to basically funnel all my fans into this person. I don't want someone that's like me. Dane Cook won't take Chris D'Elia on the road. Never mind everything. That's where their actual conflict is because
is
they're
it a
so
fear of
similar in that way.
Someone taking over,
Taking your
type,
shine. Sure, of course.
And then they're like, oh, he's the same type. We want to involve him now.
Of course. It comes down to that.
Yeah, but Kevin Hart has 3 black dudes that open for him, the Plastic Cup Boys. You know what I mean?
He does. And Kevin Hart's actually an outlier when it comes to that.
But does it necessarily take away? See, I think a more positive mentality is, hey, let me bring this person because them getting my followers doesn't mean I'm getting less followers. Hey, I might even get some of their followers by incorporating them.
Nikki Glaser takes girls on the road, and I really respect that about her. She almost only takes women on the road, which is, I think, really, really cool. And the problem as a female comic right now with the Me Too movement is that in the past, women don't really take women on the road. They're only taking guys on the road. And now, because of the Me Too movement, guys won't take women on the road. Like, I've had dudes tell me, like, hey, you're really funny. I want to take you on the road, but I'm afraid how people are going to react to it.
Of course. That's real. And even when you do shows, and I've heard this for a fact, and I've actually gotten into a conflict with 2 people that I can think of right now. When someone told me you slept your way into a position, and I was specific, and it's because, and we've discussed this even if in short, I love the hustle and I see you hustle. And I don't think people give you enough respect for your hustle. Never mind the comedy, never mind the persona. I'm simply speaking hustle-wise. And people they want to downplay whatever you do. And whenever you're an attractive woman, the easiest way to do that is say, well, she must have slept with someone.
Oh, like they've told you that I slept my way
They
up?
did. And,
Which is
and especially
ironic.
because of the person you were in a relationship with.
Who booked me twice in 3 years.
And they were like, well, that's the reason.
Drop
and
the
I
mic.
was like, I know for a fact it's not.
I'm like, he booked me
yes.
twice in 3 years. And it wasn't until the last 6 months where I was like, hit 3 years in comedy.
But it's sad that that's the assumption, and that, Teron, you have to even deal with that, because when we see a successful guy, we're not assuming, hey, you slept with someone to get there. We're assuming, oh, you're talented, you worked hard. So it's sad that that mindset is out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The more I've had dudes, because, yeah, I mean, it's ironic. And I see now that my ex and I broke up, I see all these, like, female comics who think that, like, I mean, I'm only 3 years in, but, like, whatever success I have is because of him. But it's like, so they're all trying to, like, date him now. I'm like, dude, he booked me twice in 3 years.
We're always taking away.
All my other female friends and guy friends that run shows book me way more than he ever did. And he books those girls more than he ever booked me. He booked these girls that are now trying to hook up with him more than he booked me. And it was because he didn't want people to think that I even told him when we first started dating, I was like, I don't want to do any of your shows because I don't want people to think I'm with you for that reason. So I've hurt my own career out of, like, morality and how I'm going to be viewed. Oh, are we running?
We're getting to that point.
minutes.
But that's actually, I mean, that's the real case. And here's the thing. As men, we need to not be bitter. We need to be better. We need to realize, and I realize why guys always want to say that girls who make it are whores, because that's what guys would do. If we were girls, we'd sleep our ways to the top. And most of men in general are whores. And so we love projecting.
For yourself.
We love projecting onto women. And that's something we need to stop doing. Stop being these sexual aggressors and just be better people. We can fix it. Let's, instead of changing the way they dress and the way they look and change our behavior, we can do that anytime. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
We appreciate you very much. Where can people find you if you want to be found?
You can find me on Instagram at Vanessa V. Johnston and Twitter at Vanessa Johnston, but probably Instagram is better.
Her Instagram, she has funny commentary, and you post a lot of these DMs that people send you, and it's actually very fun. So be careful what you DM her. Thank you so much for being on the show. Really quick, Imperfect Gentleman of the Week this week is LeBron James. The school he built is just a phenomenal concept. While everyone's arguing who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron, Michael Jordan built prisons, LeBron built schools. That's all I'm going to say. Jordan might be a better player, but LeBron is right now a much better person. Thank you so much for listening, watching, being here, and being there each and every week right here. Tuesdays, Imperfect G Show. Where can they tweet us?
You can tweet us at Imperfect G Show.
Find us on Instagram at
Imperfect G Show.
That's right. And I am the impeccable, impenetrable Tehran Von Gosri at I am Tehran, all across the board at IAMTEHRAN, like the capital of Iran. If you don't know how to spell Tehran, just watch CNN. And I'm alongside
GK Supreme, live in full effect. Find me at Mr. George Corey. Please spell my last name for him, Tehran.
That's Mr. George, KHOURI, and we are
Imperfect Gentlemen.
Remember, nobody's perfect. But us. We'll see you guys next week. Check in. We have an amazing guest. See you next week.